Looking at a bombshell report just released by the Ontario Real Estate Association, homeowners across the province are facing their worst nightmare as property values have crashed by an unprecedented 30% in just 30 days. But here's what's really shocking. This isn't just happening in one city, it's spreading like wildfire across 5 major regions. And number one on our list is absolutely devastating because it's affecting over 2.3 million families who thought their homes were their safest investment. The numbers we're about to reveal will change everything you thought you knew about Ontario's housing market. Let's dive into the 5 hardest-hit areas that are sending shockwaves through the entire Canadian economy, starting with the most catastrophic situation that's unfolding right now. Number 5. Hamilton and the Golden Horseshoe region. The industrial heart of Ontario just flatlined. Hamilton, once considered the affordable alternative to Toronto's sky-high prices, has seen average home prices plummet from $847,000 to $592,000 in just 4 weeks. But here's the terrifying part that real estate agents aren't telling you: this isn't just about numbers on paper. Sarah Mitchell, a nurse who bought her first home in Hamilton's East End just 6 months ago, watched her $680,000 investment shrink to $476,000 overnight. She's not alone. Thousands of families who stretched their budgets to enter the market are now trapped in homes worth less than their mortgages. The psychological impact is crushing entire neighborhoods where for sale signs multiply like a virus, but buyers have completely vanished. What makes Hamilton's situation particularly brutal is the domino effect hitting the steel industry workers. As property values collapse, consumer spending freezes, local businesses are laying off employees, creating a vicious cycle that's accelerating the housing crash. The ripple effects are reaching into Burlington, Grimsby, and St. Catharines, where panic selling has become the new normal. But if you think Hamilton has it bad, wait until you see what's happening in our 4th-ranked disaster zone. Number 4. Ottawa's government district meltdown. The nation's capital is experiencing something unprecedented in Canadian history. Ottawa's core residential areas, traditionally insulated by stable government employment, have lost 32% of their value in the past month. Houses in Westboro that were selling for $1.2 million are now sitting empty at $820,000 with zero interested buyers. Here's the shocking reality that's got federal employees in panic mode, even with job security that most Canadians envy. Ottawa residents are discovering that their homes have become financial anchors dragging them underwater. The Glebe, Centertown, and Sandy Hill neighborhoods are witnessing something that veteran real estate professionals have never seen before: bidding wars in reverse, where desperate sellers are competing to slash their prices the fastest. What's truly alarming is how this is affecting the rental market. As homeowners desperately try to avoid foreclosure, they're flooding the rental market, driving down rents by 40% in some areas. This might sound good for renters, but it's creating a dangerous deflationary spiral that's spreading beyond housing into every sector of Ottawa's economy. The situation gets even more disturbing when you realize that government workers, traditionally the most financially stable demographic in Canada, are now calling mortgage counselors at record rates. If Ottawa can't weather this storm, what hope do other cities have? Speaking of other cities, number 3 will absolutely shock you because it involves a region that was supposed to be recession-proof. Number 3. Kitchener-Waterloo's tech bubble burst. The Silicon Valley of Canada just experienced its Black Friday moment, but instead of shopping deals, we're talking about property values in complete freefall. Kitchener-Waterloo, powered by tech giants like BlackBerry, Google, and dozens of startups, has seen home prices crater from an average of $756,000 to $511,000 in 28 days. But here's the part that should terrify every Canadian homeowner: this wasn't supposed to happen here. Tech workers with 6-figure salaries, stock options, and seemingly unlimited job prospects were the backbone of this housing market. Now, as companies implement massive layoffs and hiring freezes, even software engineers making $150,000 a year are walking away from their mortgages. The University of Waterloo area, once a goldmine for student housing investors, has become a graveyard of empty rental units. International students are canceling their housing contracts, leaving property owners with massive monthly losses. What's particularly devastating is watching young professionals who relocated from Toronto for better affordability, now trapped in homes worth less than their Toronto apartments would have cost to rent. Local real estate agent Michael Chen, who's been in the business for 15 years, told us he's never seen anything like the panic that's gripping Waterloo region. Properties that used to sell within hours of listing are now sitting for weeks without a single viewing. The psychological shift from boom to bust happened so quickly that many residents are still in denial, refusing to accept their new financial reality. But as catastrophic as Waterloo's situation is, it pales in comparison to what's unfolding in our number 2 location, where entire suburban communities are turning into ghost towns. Number 2. Mississauga and the GTA suburbs collapse. The bedroom communities that millions of Ontario families called home are now experiencing an exodus that's reshaping the entire Greater Toronto area. Mississauga, Brampton, Markham, and Richmond Hill have collectively lost over $47 billion in residential property value in just 1 month. Let that number sink in. $47 billion in family wealth gone. Here's what makes this collapse so devastating. These weren't speculative investments or luxury properties. These were family homes bought by teachers, nurses, police officers, and small business owners who believed they were making the responsible choice by moving to the suburbs for affordability and space. Now they're watching their children's college funds evaporate as their homes lose $200,000 to $400,000 in value. The human cost is staggering. Divorce rates are spiking as financial stress tears families apart. Suicide prevention hotlines report a 300% increase in calls from homeowners facing foreclosure. Children are being pulled from private schools, families are canceling vacations, and retirement plans are being shredded as equity lines of credit become worthless. What's particularly cruel is how this is affecting new Canadians who invested everything into homeownership as their path to prosperity. Immigrant families who worked multiple jobs to save for down payments are now facing a choice between bankruptcy and walking away from the Canadian dream entirely. The social fabric of these communities is unraveling as neighbors blame each other, real estate agents, and anyone else they can find for their financial devastation. But even this suburban nightmare doesn't compare to the absolute catastrophe unfolding in our number 1 location, where the situation is so severe that it's threatening to collapse the entire Ontario economy. Number 1. Toronto's core, the epicenter of Canada's housing apocalypse. Toronto, the economic engine of Canada, is experiencing a real estate meltdown so severe that international investors are fleeing the country entirely. The average home price in Toronto has plummeted from $1.35 million to $945,000 in just 30 days. But that's only the beginning of this disaster story. Here's why Toronto's collapse is different from everywhere else. It's not just affecting homeowners, it's destroying the entire financial system that the Canadian economy depends on. Major banks are reporting mortgage defaults at levels not seen since the 1990s recession. Credit unions are failing. Mortgage brokers are declaring bankruptcy daily. The condo market, which was supposed to provide affordable housing options, has become a financial wasteland where investors are losing $100,000 to $300,000 per unit. Rental income has collapsed as tenants move back with family or leave the province entirely, leaving condo owners unable to cover their mortgage payments. But here's the truly terrifying part that affects every Canadian, not just Toronto residents. The Bank of Canada is now facing a crisis that could force emergency interest rate cuts or even quantitative easing measures that could destroy the Canadian dollar's value. When Toronto's real estate market collapses, it takes down pension funds, insurance companies, and retirement savings across the entire country. The psychological damage is immeasurable. Toronto residents who felt wealthy just months ago are now facing financial ruin. Young professionals are abandoning their careers to move back with parents in other provinces. International students are canceling their study plans, and skilled immigrants are choosing other countries over Canada. What makes this situation absolutely critical is that Toronto's real estate market represents over 40% of Canada's total residential property value. When it collapses this dramatically, it creates a deflationary spiral that affects everything from consumer spending to business investment to government tax revenues. So there you have it, 5 regions where Ontario homeowners are watching their dreams turn into nightmares as property values continue their devastating free fall. From Hamilton's industrial heartbreak to Toronto's economic apocalypse, this crisis is reshaping the financial future of millions of Canadian families. What do you think will happen next in Ontario's housing market? Will these values recover, or is this just the beginning of an even larger collapse? Share your thoughts in the comments below. If this information opened your eyes to what's really happening in Ontario's real estate market, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe for more breaking news about Canada's economic future. Ring the notification bell so you don't miss our next video, where we'll reveal which cities might be next to experience this kind of devastating property value collapse.